I'm the student leader from SVYCA, and I'm one of your moderators for the Green School Innovation Panel. So the Green School Innovation Panel will share innovative solutions to implementing climate education and sustainability in primary education. It will broadly cover how climate literacy can be implemented effectively, the role students' voices play in their school's sustainability efforts, and the challenges that schools face in becoming more sustainable. The audience will hear from leaders in school sustainability, from the Santa Clara Office of Education, the San Mateo County Office of Education, and Region 5 Expanded Learning, and the Fremont Union High School District, FUHSD for short. So first up, we have Julie Hilborn. Julie leads and directs the San Mateo County Office of Education's Environmental Literacy and Sustainability Initiative, which supports San Mateo County schools in prioritizing environmental literacy and integrating sustainability and climate resilient practices across a school's campus, curriculum, community, and culture. Julie has 30 years of experience in science and environmental education, including university faculty, teacher training, being a middle school science and environmental science teacher, an outward bound instructor in Zimbabwe, Africa, a museum science educator, and a naturalist at San Mateo Outdoor Education. Next, we have Jennifer Mutch. With over 2 decades in education, Jennifer is currently the Environmental Literacy and Sustainability Coordinator at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. Here, she has leveraged her expertise in educational leadership and teacher training to empower educators to integrate climate change education and sustainability into curriculum. Jennifer is also part of the Santa Clara County Youth Climate Initiative with several other community partners, and she supports the 2 youth commissioners on Santa Clara's Sustainability Commission. She co-leads the County Office of Education's Innovation Hub in the California Environmental Literacy Initiative and supports several grant projects that are focused on environmental literacy and sustainability. Next up, we have Kavita Gupta. Kavita is a nationally renowned Fremont Union High School District science teacher for over 25 years and a passionate advocate for youth leadership and climate action. She is a National Geographic Inaugural Teacher of the Year and was featured in National Geographic's documentary, Women of Impact. She organized Earth Deconstructed and the FUHSD Earth Day, community events with over 600 attendees. She did this to elevate youth voices against climate change. She was a speaker at the National Geographic Explorer Festival and a keynote at the State Department's event, Hidden No More. And she was a speaker at San Jose's March for Science and a speaker at the National Science Teaching Association. Next, we have Suhani Nirwal. Suhani is a rising sophomore at the Monte Vista High School with a passion for sustainability and climate literacy. She is a student leader and a core team member, part of orchestrating the FUHSD Annual Earth Day, where there were over 285 student presenters and 800 attendees. Suhani is an environmental subcommittee leader and was a student senator at her middle school in Canada. She works to communicate environmental wants and needs to her school, from her school to her district. Lastly, we have Mara Wold. Mara is a Region 5 lead for the California Department of Education System of Support for Expanded Learning, which is based out of the Monterey County Office of Education. She supports publicly funded school districts, charters, and community-based organizations across Monterey, San Benito, Santa Clara, and Santa Cruz counties in the implementation of high-quality before, after-school, and summer programs for low-income and high-need communities. She's a compassionate system thinker and leader with over 25 years of program development and management experience in expanded learning, collaborative systems, and public administrations. Now, after learning a little bit more about our panelists, I'm going to invite Rosie, my co-moderator, to ask the panelists some questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhi, for the introductions, and thank you for our wonderful panelists for being here. So I think this is a very special panel for all of us because the majority of the people in the audience are students themselves, and they really want to know what their schools are doing to be green. So our first question here, and we're going to start with Julie and go down the line, is what actions/initiatives you have started to increase sustainability in your schools?
Well, hi everybody. I feel very privileged to be on this panel with this amazing group of people, so thank you so much for having me. So I'm the Environmental Literacy and Sustainability Coordinator, and that's a position that was created in 2017. It was the first of its kind in the state of California, so there are 58 county offices of education, and ours was the first one to have a position like that that really focused on sustainability. And even before that, we had an outdoor education program. We were also the first to create an outdoor school. So how many of you students have been to outdoor ed at some point, like gone to a science camp or an outdoor education program? Oh my gosh, I'm surprised not to see more. Raise them high so we can see. Awesome. So that was where our county office really got its start with environmental education. And like they said in the introduction, we really focus on the 4 C's with schools: campus, curriculum, community, and culture, because none of those things can exist without the other. We really need schools that are climate resilient, are not having high heat days where the asphalt is 185 degrees and small kids are out on the asphalt. That's the campus part of it. And then there's the curriculum, obviously, which is what students are being taught. At our county office, we really focus on all of the school districts in the county to help those teachers transform their practice to include the environmental principles and concepts, which are actually a state mandate. So you can rest assured there are some mandates that are backing up your teachers. And so we have a program that helps them implement all of that. It goes for 10 months, and they get mentorship, and they have a summer institute. And so that is a very transformative thing for teachers. We also have a Youth Climate Ambassadors program. We do have a few of those in the audience, I think. I saw Anjali somewhere. So our Youth Climate Ambassadors program is a 7-month program for high school students. It's a knowledge to action program where they get to do a community impact project. At the end, we work with community-based partners. We are really lucky, you all. We have amazing community partners that provide enriching experiences for you students. Think back to what was really, really memorable for you in school, and I bet it was a field trip or some time when you got to go out into nature, or you just had some kind of really, enriching experience that involved a community partner. And then we also provide technical assistance for greening schools so that we can make sure that you all as students are in schools that are climate resilient and you're not breathing wildfire smoke and you are in a place that's cool enough that you can learn, because there's a lot of research behind that's one of the most important things for student learning. And the last thing I'll say is our county office just this year was awarded the Green Ribbon program, or Green Ribbon Gold. We're going to go for Green Achiever next year. Apparently we're very, very close. So that's a program we'll talk a little bit more about on the panel. But thank you for having me.
Hi everybody, I really am appreciative of being invited also to be on this panel, and my name is Chen Mutch. I'm the Environmental Literacy and Sustainability Coordinator, and that is a new title for me at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. Prior to that, I was a science coordinator. So kind of to speak to the question, a lot of things are very similar than what we do at our county office. SMCOE has been a guide for us and a mentor in a way, because a lot of things we're trying to do are modeling what they do. But I've been very fortunate in that our school board of education, our county office of education board, has prioritized environmental literacy and climate literacy. It is our top board priority out of the 6 board priorities. And part of that is supporting youth and making sure that youth voice is heard in the work that we do, supporting professional development and civic engagement. And Julie mentioned the 4 C's, campus, curriculum, community, and culture is an integral part of what we try to do. And we're also trying to enhance climate science programs and supporting youth-led effort. So we have been partnering with SVYCA, and then we have this a newer initiative that was mentioned, which is the Santa Clara County Youth Climate Initiative, which is in partnership with the Office of Sustainability, and we're prioritizing and supporting youth in work that way, where our part of that is to really bring forth and support curriculum and instruction, because that's where we're finding that teachers need some support with that, and youth are wanting that, so not just in advanced placement classes, so I know that we hear that quite often. And then another aspect that we found, we did, our phase 2 work was doing youth focus groups and listening to youth voice, and so a part of our work will also be working on what Julie mentioned with our community-based partners. You all heard from the Nature-Based Solutions group, so really seeing where our community partners have field opportunities and opportunities for youth to tie it into climate action. So we're working with community-based partners to see where those entry points are for you all. And then some of you may have been hearing about a law that was passed back in October. So AB 285 was signed into law where, and this is a lot of work we're doing as well to support teachers with how to teach about climate change, knowing about what causes of climate change are, the effects, the mitigation and adaptation, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on. And then internally, we actually have a sustainability committee for our own office, because we want to support and model and help districts with that. So we're looking at our energy use, transportation, how we're purchasing things, because we are a big county office. We support 31 school districts. So, and a lot of school districts are doing this work, but we want to support those that aren't also. So, but yeah, we're doing a lot of this work, technical assistance as well, being on committees, and we're happy to be here and doing the work. So thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. What a privilege to share this space with all of you and with this distinguished panel. Thank you for this opportunity. It gives me hope every day. I see hundreds of you gathered for this common cause to keep this planet working for all of us. So thank you for your interest. As an educator for over 25 years, I taught AP Chemistry and Chemistry Honors, and some of you like you, and some of you are yay. I teach chemistry, but what students wanted to learn is about their environment and their world. So I started shifting little by little and started teaching them about their world through chemistry. But last year, 3 remarkable things happened to us. Number 1, a beautiful soul that we got to know as Elisa Floyd came our way. And she exemplifies the power of one. She infused this energy and elevated student voices and wanted to do more sustainable change in our district. The second amazing thing that happened to all of us was our superintendent, Mr. Clark. Are you here? Yeah. And his leadership and vision gave students wings a new lift. And the third and the most important thing that happened was our board. And Rosa's here representing our board. And our board passed a resolution where they incorporated sustainability and climate education as one of the actions in LCAP goals. For those students who do not know what that is, it guides everything we do in the classroom, outside of the classroom, so that's really huge. And with all of these together, and our students have always been wanting to learn more about their world because they are afraid. They want to make sure they have a good place to live and that their children have a good place to live. So we all came together and we created what we call a climate collective, FUHSD Climate Collective. And we kind of use a systems thinking approach where we have all the stakeholders, students, our superintendent, our board members, our teachers. We are sitting on the same level, negotiating ideas, making changes, so things actually happen. Nothing gets lost in the dark internet world of emails. So we can really bring action and give lift to student voices. And the tangible things we are doing, you'll hear more from Suhani, our student lead, one of our student leads. So I'm going to stop here and give it to her.
Thank you, Ms. Gupta, for that wonderful insight. Hi guys, my name is Suhani, and I am a rising sophomore at Monte Vista High School, and I'm also one of the core team members at the Climate Collective. Now, as part of the Climate Collective, I would like to highlight 3 of our most recent accomplishments. Number 1, we recently organized the first ever annual FUHSD Earth Day. Now, this was an event that consisted of around 285 FUHSD students that presented projects regarding environmental literacy and environmental education to around 800 community members and attendees. Second of all, the Climate Collective has noticed a recent trend within the FUHSD district. One of the things within our district is that as an academic institution and as students, we use a lot of paper, but this isn't necessarily recycled or reused in a sustainable manner. So this led to the implementation of a district-wide student-led recycling initiative. And last, I would like to highlight that none of this work is of any use if we aren't able to actively quantify and track our progress. So we created our own metrics to track FUHSD impact and our carbon footprint, and we also created the FUHSD sustainability dashboard, and we have students that are actively managing the data on there.
You're awesome. Hi everybody. How are you today and good afternoon? My name is Wold. I am the regional lead for Region 5 Expanded Learning. I'm based out of the Monterey County Office of Ed, and I'm part of the State of California System of Support for Expanded Learning. So when you hear the term technical assistance, we're not computer experts, just want to make that clear. It is about providing support to make sure that our districts, our charters, our community-based organizations are in compliance with the law. And that is to ensure that we have high-quality programs, whether it's in the core day with core day education, or whether it's during out-of-school time. So my whole wheelhouse is out-of-school time. How many of you have been to a summer camp before? Yay, summer! Or maybe an after-school program. I know for me personally, yeah, raise your hand, be proud. I was an only child. I grew up in San Francisco. I was a latchkey kid, and my mom survived on the after-school program to take care of me. So it was absolutely about providing a safe and supportive environment, but more importantly, and especially these days, we have standards for our before, after school, intercession, and summer programs that are very deep and meaningful. It's way more than babysitting. It's an opportunity for us, particularly these days with the governor's support of $4 billion, and let me repeat that, $4 billion with a B, because for years, and I've been involved in this work for over 2 decades now, it wasn't until the last couple of years we had this influx, an incredible amount of dollars for these programs. And the reason being is that every child deserves that opportunity to engage in a high-quality out-of-school time program. And historically, we have had some money through state Prop 49, which is a voter-approved initiative, and thank you all voters for voting for that back in 2002. That did establish core funding for after school, and we have some federal dollars as well, thankfully. And that was about $750 million, but that's what we had in the state. We were actually the envy of the other 49 because they only had 21st century funding, which is supports predominantly TK through 12th grade. So here comes the state of California and a governor who really believes in education initiatives and said, you know, we need to invest more in out-of-school time. And so we've got this $4 billion in addition to what we had before for TK through 6th grade. And I know a lot of you in the room here are high schoolers or just graduating middle school, yay, going on to high school. But this whole range of support after school and during summer is so critical for a child's continued growth and for our ability to thrive. So I'm going to talk a little bit later on the panel about how we're making really important connections to environmental literacy. So you can see me as the connector. I'm the connector. I'm not a Core A educator. I don't have a teaching credential. But I will tell you that everyone in the room, myself included, we are all educators. We are all educators. And so how do we leverage our role as one who cares about kids, we care about our planet and our environment to really truly make a difference together?
Thank you so much, panelists. So this next question is for Julie and Jen. You guys mentioned the new bill that's coming, or that is already out. And so we want to learn how schools are currently implementing climate education in their curriculums, especially putting this climate education into different subject areas. So it's beyond just the environmental science, for example.
Well, that's the good news, is that environmental literacy really is a perfect umbrella for interdisciplinary instruction. So especially at the younger grade levels, it's a way that teachers who are already teaching math and English and social studies and all of these other subject areas, they can do an interdisciplinary unit that has an environmental phenomena. We call it phenomena in science standards, which, I mean, a rainbow, that's a phenomena, so that counts. So just as an example. So they can use this phenomena to be able to touch on all their different subject areas. So what we do is we really try to teach teachers how to do that and to make it so that they can be meeting those English and math standards, which of course everybody worries about. But now, as of this year, they're going to put the state science test on what's called the state dashboard. So this is a new thing, which is really great. Schools have tended to focus a lot on English and math because they have state testing that is very visible. But now science is also going on there. So that is going to raise the level of desire for the districts to be doing more environmental instruction, which is really great. And the environmental principles and concepts, which came from the people voting. You're going to hear me talk a lot about voting because I cannot emphasize enough how important that is. So the Education and Environment Initiative, which was passed in 2012, made it so that environmental literacy has to be taught in every grade level in every subject area. Now, does that mean it's happening? Not necessarily, but the good news is that since then, all of the curricula have incorporated the environmental principles and concepts: art, history, science, and I'm missing one. What's the other one? Something. Health. Thank you. Yeah. So all of those already have the environmental principles and concepts incorporated into them. So as students, you can know that, you know, some of them do it better than others, but it's in there, so that's good. AB 285 is now mandating that climate change be taught grade 1 through 12. Now, we don't advocate for first graders to be learning about the causes and effects of climate change. I will tell you that right now. That just creates big climate anxiety. How many of you are feeling, adults and students, how many of you are feeling climate anxiety? Yeah. I mean, just in your daily life, right? Because we listen to the news and we hear all of this doom and gloom kind of stuff. So what we really try to do is focus on solutions, and I cannot emphasize that enough because we have all the solutions. The solutions are here. All of these panelists we've been listening to all day long so far have been talking about all of these amazing solutions that we have. And so our job, my job, is to help teachers see those solutions so that they're not giving kids the message that, you know, okay kids, the adults messed up the planet and now it's your job to fix it. Like, that is not what we want to do, right? So we want to make sure that students are knowing about all of the people out there who are already doing all of this amazing work for the planet, and knowing that they can be part of the solution and they can be empowered to be part of the solution. And then I'm just going to say one more time, just getting students outside is like so critical. Building a connection to our planet and to green spaces so that people's mental health is really improved just by being near a tree. So I'm an advocate of that for sure.
Yes, I'm just going to piggyback on what Julie is saying. As she mentioned, the environmental principles and concepts have been around for many, many years. I think we try to bring awareness to that and broaden teachers' perspectives on the fact that that is part of their curriculum frameworks and that what they should be teaching about. And those principles and concepts are really about systems and thinking about human impact on natural systems and the other way around, and it's just very important for everyone to have that broader view. And as she mentioned, it's actually in every single curriculum framework. The only one so far that doesn't have it is ELA, English Language Arts, but it will have it in the new English Language Arts framework when that comes out in a year or two. There's a delay with the CDE, we won't get into that. But the math framework is new. It just came out last year. There are several different vignettes in the math framework. So if you have a math teacher that isn't really talking about environmental literacy, they should be. And I know Fremont Unified actually has created some curriculum that is in all those different frameworks, and they can talk about that a little bit more. But I just also, she mentioned too, that broader solutionary action-based work that, you know, some of your teachers can help you with, right? In trying to create what kinds of actions can you take. Have that like idea of we can solve this, we can work together with solutions. And I'll also add that there's, some of you may be familiar with the State Seal of Civic Engagement. So a lot of you have probably already done work that could earn you that State Seal of Civic Engagement that goes on your high school diploma when you graduate. And so you can earn that by being part of committees at district level, speaking at school board meetings, and being involved. And so again, if you get involved with curriculum and action-based learning, you could probably earn the State Seal of Civic Engagement. And then I'll end with adding that Julie and I, and I think Mara too sometimes, you're part of the California Environmental Literacy Initiative. I think you've been part of that for a bit. And there's statewide work happening, and we've created toolkits to help with this work. So if you're interested in knowing, and one will be coming out about AB 285, so get your teachers to see those toolkits and work together and talk to them about it. So thank you.
Thank you. And you might hear a lot of resources being dropped. Don't worry, there will be a slide after this where you will be provided with all the resources being mentioned. So yeah. SVYCA is a youth-led organization, and we're very proud of that fact. So we always care about the youth perspective. And so we're really glad to have members of the Climate Collective here to bring that perspective and talk about it. So my next question here is for Kavita and Suhani, for how you incorporate student voices when it comes to sustainability.
Great question. Don't you think Suhani is better suited to answer that question? So I'm going to pass it on to her.
Thank you, Ms. Gupta. Okay, so the Climate Collective is a student-led and student-driven initiative. We really value how we function as a student democracy, meaning by the students for the students. And the way we incorporate student voice when taking into consideration sustainability and climate literacy is by making sure that the students are heard, by making sure that the students have a seat on the table and they're seen as equals amongst teachers, other staff, and the major district stakeholders. So before the Climate Collective was established, students still had the same drive and the same passion to learn about environmental education and climate literacy, but they were lacking the encouragement from the district and the resources to do so, and they hit a lot of roadblocks along the way. After the Climate Collective was established, the students' visions aligned with the district's, and we were able to move at a much more productive pace. Apart from the main stakeholders in the district, another way that we incorporate student voice is by making sure that we have a very organized student team leadership system. And this is made up of ASB officers, commissioners, and other students and teachers that provide us the resources. And this system basically just makes sure that students are able to draft and then put into action most of the decisions here at the Climate Collective.
Thank you, Suhani. And so now I want to talk a little bit about ways that that schools can support students becoming climate literate outside of the classroom? Because, in SVYCA, we talk about this a lot. There's all these resources out there, but sometimes it's very hard to get. If you want to become climate literate, a lot of the times it feels like you have to do it by yourself, and that shouldn't be the case. So I want to ask Jen and Mara how it is that schools can really be supporting students in this endeavor.
We're looking at each other. Ooh, who wants to take this one? So there are a lot of different ways, and there is no one way. And let me just start with that, because I think coming into this, and Jen mentioned the California Environmental Literacy Initiative, for the longest time, I think since its inception, it was established as a county office of ed, core day teacher sort of network. And then I remember connecting with one of my county office of ed counterparts, and I said, would it be okay if expanded learning comes and is a part and present at the table with you? Because as a collaborative partner, I think I can help leverage some of the efforts that you're wanting to do in the classroom in the out-of-school time space. And by virtue of just that ask, we have developed some amazing relationships and partnerships that is strengthening the effort all around. So I'm going to also say, in addition to getting out and voting and encouraging people to vote, it's also about don't be shy in asking for a seat at that table. And another panelist mentioned that earlier on. It is so critical, because I wouldn't be here today with you had it not been for that. Last year, when I attended this Climate Action Summit, I was able to meet with Hoy, and I found out the beautiful work that you are all doing through SVYCA. We are now a partner, so that we're making sure that we're training some of our older youth to actually go into the classroom to work with younger youth. So if anyone is interested in that effort here, please come talk to me afterwards, because there's such power in young people being the teachers and the leaders to your younger youth. This is how we're going to sustain and grow our environmental literacy and climate action initiatives. So I'm going to say that out front, and then specifically looking at how we're nurturing gardens as an entry spot. Somebody mentioned earlier that we wouldn't start with our first graders and say that the climate is, it's burning up. And believe me, kids know what's going on. And there's no reason why we need to talk about the negative part. We can focus in on the opportunity to come together for climate change. But how do we develop environmental stewards? And that's really the emphasis and focus we've taken in expanded learning, is what is something that we can do to make sure that our young people are engaged with the environment. So as Julie said, getting outdoors, understanding and learning and appreciating nature is the first step to understanding why we need to take care of it. Field trips are huge. That's when I talk about after school in summer, many of you probably have very fond memories of going on field trips. That's a really key piece to education that can happen in the out of school space that makes a tremendous difference. So those are just a couple of examples. And older youth teaching younger youth is the way to go, something I'm completely passionate about, and I'm ready to make it happen together with you.
Great, thanks, Mara. And kind of I'll add to what she was saying about just outside learning. Our county has a pretty strong school gardens initiative that's happening across a lot of different school sites, and we're supporting districts with that. And I know in a prior panel, there was a mention of just greening your campuses. So outside of your classroom, you have spaces on your campuses that probably could use some shade, some trees, some greening. So work with your community-based partners on that too. So reach out to them, find out how can they help you with doing that, greening your own campuses. And then some of you I know volunteer and work with those community-based partners on their own sites. So there's lots of opportunities out there. And again, ask, talk to adults in the room and talk to people. A lot of you have opportunities of internships and partnering with, you have some great folks that are right out here in the hallway that can work with you too. So I think outside of the school day, those are important places. And then create a community of a committee at your school district or at your school site. It just, the worst thing that can happen is might be someone says no, and then you just keep asking, and then they'll say yes eventually. So I think that's important too, is just kind of be persistent and continue that. Because that's outside, not everything can happen in the school day. We know our school days are very tight schedule, so a lot of this work does happen beyond the school day, and just help us. We can help you with that too. So thanks.
Thanks, guys. And so now, if you guys were all in the nature-based solutions panel, we saw this great graphic showing tree canopy in Palo Alto versus East Palo Alto. And you can definitely see a difference. So people have different experiences based on where they live, the different grade levels they're in, the different career paths that they want to go down, and how can climate education be adaptable to all these different experiences that people are having? This question is for Julie and Mara.
Okay, well, this is kind of a big question. That's a lot of things. Demographics, grade levels, career plans, there's a lot of things in there, so I'll try to be brief, even though I'm super passionate and I could go on forever. So, first thing is, place-based learning is very, very impactful for students. So, there is a curriculum that's being developed right now in the state of California that is very much focused on place-based learning. So there were $6 million that funneled through our county office from the California Department of Education for an environmental justice curriculum and climate change curriculum. And that will be open source to any teacher once it gets rolled out. It's going to be done in March of next year. So that's super exciting times. There's no money right now for the rollout, so we need to have money for the rollout. But that is something that's coming down the pipe that I think is going to be very, very powerful for teachers. Place-based learning, if it's in an area where there are a lot of environmental justice issues, can be extremely anxiety-producing. So place-based learning has to be taught in a way where students are given an opportunity to be able to share their feelings about things. They're able to take a walk after learning difficult subjects. So there's a whole just arena of techniques that can be used. We call them trauma-informed practices or healing practices, along with when students are learning about these difficult issues that are really, really critical so that students don't want to crawl under a rock and never come out again. The concept of awe. So this is something that I really focus on a lot in my trainings with teachers, and that is you can use just a simple video of a drone flying over incredibly beautiful areas. Any teacher can use that for 5 minutes to just have kids breathe, watch that, or if they're lucky enough at their school to have some sort of nature area outside, which many schools are not that way, so watch a little video with some beautiful music and going over a beautiful area. That's a great way to reconnect people with how amazing our planet is if they're doing place-based learning that is difficult. In our county, we do have environmental justice issues in multiple places in the county, and so we have curricula to go along with that so that teachers can use that to raise awareness, but also to just be able to solve those issues as well. And in terms of the jobs, every job is a green job, so electrification, if you went to the energy panel, electrification is a huge way to improve on climate change. And so students need to know about these kinds of amazing jobs that are out there that are high paying and that are making a difference for the climate. And yeah, so I think I'll stop there.
I'll just say ditto. I think the only thing that I have to add in this regard is the importance of looking at everything through an environmental lens. I was talking to somebody the other day who said, oh yeah, we're doing a lot of design thinking. Has anyone heard of the term design thinking? So D-School, there's a lot of research around the importance of this process, which happens to occur in everything that we do. Sometimes we don't even know it, but it's something that's used in high-tech industry and manufacturing new products, etc. So somebody said to me the other day, I'm incorporating this in our after-school program, and I said, awesome, that's great. So whatever you come up with in your design, are you also asking students what is the impact to the environment on the design that they have just created? And then it was oh, I had never really thought to actually include that question in this project-based learning lesson that I want to do with my young people after school. And that was an aha moment, I think, for both of us as we were talking through how do we continuously improve on the design of our lessons and what we're doing with our young people at any time during the day, whether it's in the regular day or out of school. Just again, that focus. And I will say with the career awareness, I've also been encouraging people to ask their core day teachers and for us in after school to include a very intentional direction on how do we connect core content to real life. The relevance for the learner is really important, and I have 3 kids myself, ranging high school down now to middle school. And when I say, hey, ask, why am I learning this subject? What is this going to do for my future and my career? Sometimes there's difficulty in how to answer that question, and that's a key one for all of us as young people, is to understand that relevance of content. And that's where the EPs and Cs, those environmental principles and concepts, are really important, because they really do make the connection to the relevance of the content to the real world and to how we are going to grow together and in future jobs, etc. Really excellent resource called Steam the Streets. I'm starting to partner with them. They're very cool. Based in Oakland, Richmond area, looking at communities of color and really highlighting professionals in all kinds of different arenas, and they tell their story of how they became employed in their career. What was their educational pathway? How did they develop passion for whatever career they're exploring? Those kinds of stories from people of color are really helping our lower income communities who are historically underrepresented to see themselves in STEAM careers. And this is really significant, and I care very deeply about this because I work a lot with East San Jose schools, and their voices are not represented, and I'm very passionate about making sure that that happens. So next year I want to bring some of our East Side high school students here to be with you, to learn together with you.
I think when teachers open up that conversation in the classroom, they might not have that trauma-aware or trauma-informed training. So it's important to keep that in mind too when that's happening. Because yes, as Mara mentioned, young kids are understanding that this is happening. It's happening to us. Climate change is affecting us every day. So I think that making sure that we support teachers in the classroom with that and support students in being able to have those conversations and feel like they can have those conversations is important. And then another piece I'll add is that a lot of school districts every year have a different initiative or a different priority. So climate education is not necessarily a top priority for a lot of districts right now, unfortunately. We're trying to change that, but that is also a barrier. So when for instance, again, English language arts and math scores have not been fantastic the last few years, so the district will have an initiative on that. Julie mentioned that science is on the dashboard. It will count towards scores in the not this next school year, it's on the dashboard, but the following school year. So I think we will be busy in helping districts with that too, and that is where we can also bring in climate change. And I'll end with saying, even though AB 285 was signed into law in October, the folks that are asking me at least more about it are our community-based partners. Our school districts are not necessarily asking about it yet. I think they will, but they're not quite, it's not high up on the list right now. It will be though with our work.
Jen, I can just say ditto to everything you said, and I will pick up on her last thread. I think the inadvertent message that goes out with the way education is structured. So right now the message to you is, you do your reading, your math, your science, your languages within the school structure, and if time permits, and if you're interested, you may explore some environmental education. Imagine a world if we did that to math. You know, you learn math outside of structured school day on your own time. What kind of uproar there will be, right? Things will shut down, like there'll be strikes. But we don't have that. And when the education structure was established, we didn't have such urgency for climate education. Times are changing, but are we changing fast enough with our changing times? You, our youth, are taking proactive steps, but are we, the institutions and policies, able to keep up with our changing time? By the time we are ready to say there will be one period devoted to environmental education every day, I don't think in your time, children, but maybe in your children's time that might be a thing because it will be required. But we are trying to do that. So I think the message of optionality, it's not urgent, is kind of embedded in our structure. We're not saying it, but you're hearing it. The other big thing that happens is you want to learn, so where is that one place you can go? Creating collectives where you can talk to other students coming to SVYCA. That's a great way. The teachers, I can speak for my colleagues, and as Jen was mentioning, AB 285, it's already covered by NGSS or our science standards. What does coverage mean? When we interviewed our students and took a survey of 300 students, they say that they're not getting enough environmental education post 9th grade. But every single one of my science colleagues is covering the standards. So when is coverage not enough? What does it take to really prepare tomorrow's planetary stewards? I cannot say more than that. But till then, till we have that in our structured day, all of us, including you, will continue in doing this Band-Aid approach to get you what you want. But I wish for a day where it wouldn't be so. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the sake of time, we're going to end on one last question. So for Suhani, you've talked a lot about climate education, climate literacy, but there's a lot of ways that schools can be sustainable outside of the climate curriculum. And so what are those other ways?
That is a very important question to cover, and I think as a student, I can talk for my other students by saying that one of the best things that schools and districts can do is leading by example. Now, as students, we learn a lot, sure, when we're confined into a classroom, but when we see that these teachings are almost ignored around us and nobody applies them around us, we tend to dismiss of them ourselves. Now, to illustrate my point, let me use an example. Can I get a show of hands? How many people have learned that recycling is important in school? Almost everyone, right? How many people had a sustainable and effective recycling system on site in school? And now you see a gap. Now you see a gap. This is a very similar trend was noticed by the Climate Collective within our district. And that's when the implementation of a student-led, district-wide recycling system was adapted. And when we were approached by our teachers and our colleagues, the Climate Collective said, hey, this is what we do, this is how we function. And we advertised this system as a learning opportunity and a way to gain volunteer hours. Now, when students approached, they were intrigued. They were like, okay, hey, this is new, I know what this is, but now it's actually being applied. Right? And they soon volunteered to be a part of the solution. And this is just one of the many examples that shows how effective it is to lead by example and learn from experiences. It creates a tangible environment for students where they're able to approach, observe, learn, and then apply what they're learning in a much more productive way, right? And this is just a mindset switch that has the potential to be applied to everything, not just sustainability related, but all disciplines. So I would just like to leave with that.
Well, I think we learned a lot today. Did we learn a lot today? Let's give another round of applause.